So how's Stefan dealing with being Silas, and are we going to see actual Stefan again?
Yeah, well, first of all, yeah, I was on set when we saw Paul actually acting as Silas, so that was just a big question mark, what's he going to bring to it? But he's definitely a scary, charismatic, badass villain. And for the first few episodes, our guys aren't going to know that or some of our guys aren't going to realize, oh, that's not Stefan, or that's not Silas, or that's not a bad guy, that's Stefan. So he's so Paul's doing an awesome job, and then but we want Silas to kind of be the big bad of the season, or at least the first chunk of the season. So yeah, it's going well.
Will we see actual Stefan again?
So Stefan's been spending the summer. We're coming back 3 months later, so we'll kind of touch base on what the characters have been doing all summer. But we realize that poor Stefan has been drowning and dying and coming back to life. Typical summer vacation on Vampire Diaries. Meanwhile, everyone else has been having a totally fun time. Elaine and Damon, super sexy couple, happy for once. Caroline's ready to start school. Nobody knows that Bonnie's dead, so it's just bliss. And then here's Stefan just dying. So yeah, it sucks. And it's not an easy thing to act either, so Paul's doing a really good job.
This can't last too long, so when do we get into it?
Are you going to get sick of watching him die and come back to life?
No, you said everybody else was born.
Yes, oh, of course, yeah. So by page 2, it all turns to hell. But no, so Elaine is actually going to have her own supernatural crisis mystery thing going on at college, and then Damon's story is going to be more Mystic Falls, and all of a sudden Damon's going to realize, wait, everything that I thought I had set up, everything I thought was good, is actually falling apart around me, and he's got to kind of spin all these plates in Mystic Falls while Elaine is up at school trying to get a fresh start in her life.
Will you guys be crossing over with the originals this season at all?
I mean, that's totally the game plan, and our offices are actually connected to them without even a door, and I almost never see them. And so I can really say hi to them, let alone say hey, what about episode 8? You think Klaus can come on our show? Thinking of that gives me anxiety, just trying to schedule that far ahead. So we want that to happen for sure, but just getting all the stars to align for that to actually make sense for our story and for their stories is easier said than done.
Because right now you've already broken I guess the first half of the season, right?
Yeah, I know. We kind of know the broad strokes of the first half, and then the loose broad strokes of where we're going for the end of the season. But we know probably for sure the first 6, and then first loosely the first 9. But there's not going to be a crossover before episode 9 most likely.
So is there anything in the new season that you're specifically really looking forward to?
That I'm looking forward to?
You know if it's going to happen.
Yeah, one thing. So we have the 100th episode this year, and so we're just gonna, not pay attention to it. It's gonna be a big deal. And so we have one idea that we want to do that will be hopefully profound and beautiful and kind of disturbing but satisfying all at the same time.
How does becoming human change Catherine emotionally?
Yeah, a lot of people say oh, how could you take the badassest vampire and make her human? She's such a badass, and I'm that's exactly why, because she now has to suffer so much as a human. And so that's actually been my favorite storyline to write so far, is because she just sucks at everything. And so she, it's so funny just to see her vulnerable and weak, and have to pay for a hotel room, or just do simple things. She's just a terrible human.
Not just turn back?
Yeah. So we'll address that. Yeah, we'll address that. So we thought that too. We're oh yeah, we'll just take some vampire blood, but we want to kind of go with the thing of look, nobody's ever taken the cure before. So how do we know what's going to happen? Are you going to risk it, taking vampire blood and then I kill you, and then it's what if you don't pop back up? So for Catherine, it's not worth the risk.
How is her relationship with the brothers going to change? now that she's human?
Oh, her relationship? She is going to continue to stay kind of like this conniving, manipulative bitch. But the humanity that is forced upon her, and she evolves hopefully into having some like soft spots, and so she continues to have like a fun rapport with Damon, and I think she'll. I'm not going to spoil it, but with her storyline this year, she hopefully can find a way to be loved by someone else.
What's Bonnie's place in the grand scheme of things now that she's dead? She can't do magic. She can't.
Yeah. Well, Bonnie it has this really awesome story. So we've like created this lateral world of the other side, and so now that Bonnie's on it, we actually get to like have a sneak peek onto what the other side looks like, and like looking out through it, what that looks like. And so Bonnie's actually going to have just as much. Like Kat will still be on the show just as much as a live Bonnie, but just in this new capacity. So the interesting story that we're playing in the beginning is just this idea that nobody knows she's dead, and how that weighs on her and Jeremy and the people who do know she's dead.
Because you can touch her.
Pardon?
Because you can touch her.
Yeah, you can't touch her. That's the problem. So it's like that's what's frustrating. Is like they like each other, but it's like I can't touch you.
How is Silas comparing to Klaus as a bad guy? Like, is he kind of like so much deeper, so much more?
Yeah, so Klaus, like when I was writing Silas's voice, I was like, he's older than Klaus by 1,000 years, so I was like, I guess he's kind of like the first person. But then I was like, we've already done like the old world kind of thing, and if really he's just been in that tomb for 2,000 years, listening to people's sob stories, and that's kind of been what has kept him entertained and like a living, so to speak, mentally for 2,000 years. So we just made him, I think, charismatic, funny, and I guess when you can't be killed, you just find everything amusing and delightful. So he really just doesn't feel any like stakes, when he's walking into a room. He's just like, I just bought this room, like nothing can hurt me. So he's very, very patient, which is scary, I think, for a villain.
Were you guys at all apprehensive about having your villain played by Paul? Because other shows who've tried this sometimes have met criticism. Final season of Buffy, final season of Lost, when you had one of your leads take on the antagonist role. Mm-hmm. It's not always met with approval by fans.
Yeah, well, since we've already created like the doppelganger concept on the show, I think the fans could digest this a little easier. And I don't think they were like, oh, they've already done that. I mean, maybe they were, but what we're trying to say is like, look, actually, there's this whole doppelganger mythology that you guys don't even know about that we're going to introduce this season, and that's why Stefan is a doppelganger. And so we knew he would do a great job, and I think the actor was eager to do something new because Stefan is so refined and like he's the hero, and sometimes the heroes just can't do bad things. And so he, I think, loves this character, hopefully, and he's enjoying it. So we didn't have any, we knew at the beginning of last season that we were going to do this.
Are you going to be adding a new cast member?
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
We're going to be bringing in some new girl villains. One you've heard of, but you might have heard of, I don't know. But and then we're introducing kind of a new concept of witches, and so we're going to kind of like learn about where Silas came from because he was originally a witch. We're going to learn like his history and stuff and his people.